Good people, what's going on? I'm Caleb Smith,
Fair Conscious, aka Josh B.
I'm Evan Barnes.
and today you are watching
Necessary.
Knowledge.
And Nonsense.
Yeah, guys, we just changed the name, joined forces with my man JB, Josh Blanner. So we got you guys. Today we'll be covering a very special guest. We're going to be introducing you guys to him after this break. So thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you very soon on Necessary Knowledge and Nonsense. Thank you.
Yo.
Good people, what's going on? I know throughout this whole entire episode we've been talking about some necessary knowledge, but now it's time for some nonsense. So recently, Serena Williams, all throughout the news, they've been talking about her because she was pregnant on Snapchat. It blew up. She looks gorgeous, but they were saying that it's bad. It's been some people that's been making comments from like the tennis field and world saying that it's just terrible to see that she got pregnant by a white man. Some black women were saying the same thing. So knowing that we just have such a great historical context of why people feel that way, you have the false rape allegations that's caused like the destruction of Black Wall Street, Emmett Till, like pretty much all of these things derive from, I guess, instances that occurred between black men and white women. So how do you guys feel when it comes to black people being criticized or vice versa for dating someone that's of pretty much like the opposite race?
I mean, for me, I feel like my personal opinion on it is that we're all humans, so I feel like there shouldn't be really a boundary that can't be overstepped. You know, if you're attracted to somebody, I feel like there is no physical form to attraction. You know, like who knows what could cause you to be attracted to whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I feel like we shouldn't make it so that it's not okay for someone to be with somebody just because of really things that they can't even change. Like we don't get to choose, you know, who we are born as in this life.
Yeah. And if you are making it like that, you kind of making it like it was back in the Emmett Till days. Like as a black woman, if you're telling me I can't date a white girl, then you're basically acting like an old white dude back when he's saying you can't like it doesn't make sense to me.
And I feel like one thing that results from is like trying to hold the wealth within a certain community, you know? Because when you hear about like white parents telling a white daughter don't mess with a black dude, a lot of it might be because you want to keep the appearance. You want to continue kind of like the precedent that's been held before. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's like this Thanksgiving theory, like you don't want to make it awkward sitting at the dinner table on Thanksgiving. I feel like you add a black dude in, like the whole family dynamic changes. Maybe the conversation changes, the political talk changes. But I feel like who cares? Like honestly, who cares? Why can't I have a preference to think that blue eyes or green eyes look nice or blonde hair looks nice? Like I'm dating a black girl right now, but like I think white people are attracted too. Like
yeah. But Josh, you know, on this show we had to play on both perspectives. We had to play as devil's advocate pretty much. So I respect everyone's views. I somewhat agree with them as well. But for those people out there that can say, well, you guys don't understand because like through slavery there was that pretty much torture. If you even stared at a white woman, you were beat. Or if you dated one, you could have been lynched. Or even if she lied on you and said that you raped her, but you simply did not, you can be killed. And some people can say, well, if you have a black mother and you're around black women, why don't you want a black woman? And
that's cool. That's all cool in my opinion, culturally, but physically, my body may not respond.
It's not feeling that way.
In the same way. So it's like, dude, like just let me be a college kid for a minute
and have fun.
Dude, like just do whatever. I mean, I understand like historically there are consequences, and there are like manipulative people who happen to be that fit that description, who have done things to people who have been attracted to that. But like, I mean, that's gonna happen regardless. Like there are certain black dudes who like fetishize white women for a status appeal. Like
and
Kanye may be doing that.
I was just about to say that. We have people like Kanye Kardashian now.
Yeah.
We have guys like Sheriff Clark, I think. He's in Milwaukee and he's always featured on like Fox News and he's saying that black people like it's our fault for slavery and all this stuff and he's black yet, you know, he has a white wife. So
but why is that like what like it always goes back to like, oh, he has a white wife. Like why is that? Jordan Peele has a white wife. He made that is a black film. Like first of all, we gotta stop being finicky with the whole black and white thing. Cause like Jordan Peele is black to us, right?
Yeah.
But he's literally mixed. Like but we want to take credit for that as a black film, which we should, because in America, Obama is the first black president, yet he's not because he's mixed. It all depends on your color, which goes back to like the whole black is a color thing. Yeah. That's why it's relevant. But like, we gotta stop being finicky about how like if he has a white wife that negates him, his kids aren't black anymore until they're successful. Then we want to claim him again. Like that's just it's so finicky to me. It's like just acknowledge both sides. He's mixed. Yeah. Yes, he's black. Yes, he's white. He's mixed. He's human. Look at Evan, man. Evan,
which is pretty much half of the whole entire U.S. population.
Evan's hair ain't. Our hair ain't the same, bro. Our skin may be close, but our hair ain't the same.
Yeah.
And Evan's black. Like, trust me. If he gets pulled over, he's black.
Yeah. Exactly. And guys, you guys are just bringing some really good points up, like just to the table. And I know that some people like they can just always say, well, you just probably don't get it. It's been so much that's happening. It's been so many things that has occurred like throughout the past or even now where you have like racism. I feel like some people don't date white women, especially us black men sometimes, because we know not from the stares and stuff, but from really just knowing that you have to probably talk to her father and they probably don't like black people. Mm-hmm. And what I'm starting to notice is, even from like my past in sports, a lot of athletes don't prefer black women. And I feel like that is a deeper like psychological issue that they aren't addressing. Because to me, I would understand if it was like just proportionate, but it's not proportionate. It's like a lot of successful black athletes don't prefer black women. You know, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley.
I think that it's like, when you get to people of that kind of success, you really have like an opportunity to explore the world. So your options are.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the circle changes.
So it's like they have the opportunity to see what other beauty looks like, so they might end up being attracted to something else.
Hey, I respect.
So do you personally feel like in an ideal world, like people would be attracted to the same race?
I'll tell you this. I feel like throughout history, yes and no, because technically. And this is where, you know, I always like get people when it comes to like the conscious movement, all that stuff, that black people, like if you were raised in a pro-black family, you would just automatically trigger to love black women. Mm-hmm. That's not necessarily true. King Solomon in the Bible described as black and handsome, all the good stuff. Hebrew Israelites, they were black, right? But King Solomon had 700 wives and 400 concubines. And King Solomon's biggest downfall in the Bible was him breaking God's laws and dating outside of his nationality, his people. Mm-hmm. King Solomon, he was the what, Josh? The wisest man who ever lived.
Yeah.
If King Solomon had all, until Josh and Evan, but if King Solomon had all the knowledge in the world that any human could ever just imagine of, yet he dated women outside of his race, but he had all the knowledge. And that was his downfall.
That just tells me he was listening to the wrong head,
but... No, but exactly, but to me, that shows a lot, that he had all the knowledge. All he knew was darker people or his people, but he still dated outside of his race. You know, I think extensively too. I mean, 700 wives and 400 concubines. Yeah. The Moors. That's why we have darker Italians, because our ancestors, the Moors, were integrating Othello. William Shakespeare was talking about real things. There were black Moors, black people that were having fun and having sexual intercourse with European women consistently, and they thus had darker babies. So that shows, and the Moors were the conscious of consciousness. They exemplified loving yourself, loving who you are as a black person. They called themselves Moors. So the fact that they had all the knowledge as well, yet they still dated outside of their race sometimes, shows that sometimes we can have that urge to try something different. So I don't feel like it's necessarily and fully a consciousness issue, but at the same time, in today's age where we have social media and sometimes music slick does glorify being with a white woman or having a Becky and or a foreign woman. So I feel like now it is a completely different context to a certain degree, maybe, because back then we didn't have influences of music that tried to like trigger our brains, or we didn't have social media, or this was pre-slavery when we're talking about the Moors or King Solomon's reign, because these were black people who weren't infiltrated with white supremacy just yet. Now we have been, and now we have experienced people being lynched when it comes to being lied on. We have experienced the Emmett Tills, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and in that film, Malcolm X, he was dating a white woman early on, and she turned on him and said that, you know, it was all his fault and that he forced her to rob houses, but they were actually doing it together. So I feel like in that film, he was trying to show us like that little message that sometimes you can't trust a white woman or vice versa. So yeah,
well, he put that in his book, and that kind of marked his like resentment towards him.
Yeah, exactly.
But like he eventually evolved past it when he
post-Hajj,
when he journeyed to Mecca, where it's like he learned that like it's not really color anymore. It's
all about the human family, bro.
Yeah, it's like we're humans and it's class, and class kind of divides us more than color to an extent in certain moments. So like you kind of got to look at beyond color. I mean, color does obviously matter, but it's not the only factor.
And Josh, honestly, and even in class, like African American studies, biology, race is a man-made concept. There's no such thing as a race, really. It's just people scattered throughout the globe. And over time, we had people who developed recessive traits, who had lighter skin, and we had people who kept their dominant traits, darker skin. I get that. But this concept of white and black, that was just created. People weren't calling themselves white people 400, 1,000 years ago.
It's all social and class.
Social and class, because really, Europeans have to understand this too, that they didn't call themselves white either. They were fighting over hills and stuff in Ireland. They were fighting over land. You had the Scots. You had so many different people that went by tribes. And that's why nationality is very important. So people have to understand this beyond a race concept, because technically anybody can be black, technically anybody can be white. So really, we just have to surpass this whole concept. So how do you feel about it, EB?
I'm not sure. It's like it's hard for me to navigate through all that just because it's such a big topic that kind of touches so many different other things, you know what I'm saying? Like race really plays a part in almost our whole lives, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really hard to go ahead.
Can we talk about one thing that involves race I want to talk about?
Hey, it's your show, Josh. We on
gentrification. What do y'all think of it?
Shout out to
no. All right, gentrification. Then I want to talk about real quick cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Those two real quick.
Okay, cool. Gentrification is so apparent. Just being on the way here, and we were in the car taking an Uber, of course, and we were on the way, and I told Evan, check out this bridge. Once we pass this bridge, you're going to start noticing poor people, homeless people. And we were passing by Starbucks, and you pass by the bridge, and then everything, it goes down from there. So I feel like it's very evident in our community. So yeah.
I agree. I mean, you see a lot of, especially in Atlanta, like you see a lot of the landscape changing. You see kind of places that were historically known as had one particular vibe in the city, and you see it starting to change over time as the land's being bought up, as different buildings are being built there, businesses are being brought in that weren't originally there. Like you just see the whole demographic of a certain area changing.
Yeah, exactly. And Auburn Avenue, seeing that, Josh, that's scary, because the fact that we create negative connotations for certain areas because we see what it is today, but we don't know its true context behind it. And seeing places like Auburn Avenue and the fact that Marcus Garvey was there.
That is the King District, and we don't even acknowledge it as such. Like, so much history happened there.
W.B. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, Alonzo Herndon.
Piedmont Park is where he gave the Atlanta Compromise speech. Like, there's a lot of
knows that. I didn't even know that at first. So, Alonzo Herndon, to me, Josh, that's one of the most underrated men. Mr. McBride, he put me on him my 8th grade year, and reading his book, I know Mr. McBride. And the fact that this man started as a sharecropper, and he became the wealthiest black man in the whole entire Western Hemisphere. And he was in Atlanta. He was on Auburn Avenue. He was creating lucrative businesses. We had Marcus Garvey. We had intellectuals. We had people like Langston Hughes who would come down to the area just to experience it. And the fact that this was Harlem, but beyond Harlem, and it was the most lucrative place in the country. It was Black Wall Street. It was surpassing Black Wall Street. But now, what do we see? Homeless people run down places, and we would never think that something so great was on Auburn Avenue, and that's all because of gentrification.
There was this weird thing that happened with segregation where, like, of course, I think it's kind of a needed idea to an extent, but the death of black business kind of happened with segregation. I was talking to my family in Detroit, where my mom is from, and the Nation of Islam was really big up there. That's where Malcolm X went when it became Detroit Red.
Clifton Powell too.
Yeah. So like Detroit was kind of like very big in the Nation of Islam stuff. Yeah. So like there was black businesses everywhere. Black people basically ran. They live amongst white people, but separately. Like if you go to the corner store, it's owned by somebody that looks like you and not by somebody that
Arab,
doesn't.
sure.
Yeah, so like it's weird that the meshing of something completely washed out this thing that we had going.
Sorry to cut you off, Josh, but I don't feel like it was a meshing. I feel like segregation still exists. It's just changed in its
no doubt
political correctness context.
Yeah.
Because technically we have areas like Peachtree City, and 10 miles separated from there we have Fairburn and Creekside.
Yeah, in theory it's
How
not
is that
enforced, but it's we're doing it is enforced like subliminally, but we're also doing it to ourselves because we want to. Like, everybody wants to be around people that are
stay
like
in the suburbs.
Yeah,
it's crazy because we always say I'm trying to make it out the hood, right? So you can live with people that don't look like you and people who don't want you there.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. But at the same time, it's safer, it's nicer, it's everything that you could just possibly dream of. Yet when you had people that looked like you pre-segregation, they had no other option. So we had the brightest minds in that area. So there really was no ghetto. But now afterwards, segregation, the elite just found their way into white society or the dominant Eurocentric society.
And the words of MLK, I want to say Eminem. In the words of MLK,
I made my people into a burning house.
Yeah, it may have, honestly.
Yeah.
And real quick, can we go to cultural appropriation?
Yeah.
How do y'all feel? Because I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like people overreact to that word and to that concept.
Culture vultures?
Yeah, it's like, dude, like why can't some people just do what they like? Like white people can like literally naturally grow dreads. Why is it a problem?
Because they make money off of being black, but black people can't make money off of being black.
But guess that's what happens when you're a minority. When you're a majority, someone because
it works in your favor.
We're not even a second minority anymore. I mean, we are the second minority now. Yeah. Like now, it's Mexicans have pastors and Hispanics have pastors. So it's like
it works in your favor.
Yes, white people can capitalize and make something mainstream because it's their country right now.
I feel like people feel some type of way, and then after this, man, we gotta let Evan go in on this too. I feel like people feel this way because it's different, because those same people that's like infiltrating this industry are the same people that own the industry. So if you're already white and you're people that look like you own this industry and you're white, and people like Justin Timberlake, who doesn't even compare to people like Usher or Chris Brown, he can make more money because he's that smooth white boy who can sing.
But I gotta do this too, like
Iggy Azalea.
Justin Timberlake can do that. Yeah, Iggy can do that. But yeah, Nicki Minaj can make more money than Lauryn Hill made. That's not fair.
She can.
Yeah, Drake can make more money than Nas and Rakim made.
But lyrically, he's not the same.
Yeah, everybody has to pay the way, and I feel like we attack white people for having dreads. But like I see black girls with blonde dyed hair. Like, why is there no problem with that?
Because I feel like that's.
And I'm not trying. I'm really not trying to be a coon. I'm trying to understand
perspectives. I feel like, and after this, Evan, I got you. I feel like black women have blonde hair or weaves and stuff because we weren't wearing wigs in ancient Egypt, Kemet, but not weaves that weren't our natural texture. I think that this develops over time after seeing ads or learning that you aren't beautiful.
Yeah.
So you try to bleach your skin. You want blonde hair. You want blue contacts. And seeing, for instance, I'm sorry, like we have to go here. Seeing a white Jesus. If your God doesn't look like you, you're saying that God, or your God who you believe in, has made a mistake because God looks like that. I'm trying to be like Jesus, right?
Yeah.
So if you're trying to be like Jesus, you want to be like Jesus.
But real quick, so
like, you want what Jesus has. You want what that guy has. So you want to look like him. So everybody that looks like him, instantaneously,
you want to be
God.
the standard of acceptance. I understand that.
Yeah.
But like you said, when white people look at us, they look at cool. They look at what's popular. They look at like what pushes the agenda forward.
They view us as cool, but they don't want to be us.
No, they
because it's a whole lot that comes with being black.
Because like systematically, that's a step down. Because right now they control like what moves and what doesn't move.
That's it.
So they on the chessboard they moving everything, but they do like look at us as something, and it's shown in
black magic.
Black magic, and it's shown in their willingness to become like us in certain aspects. Yeah. And it's also weird. I find it weird that. So when you think of curry food, what do you think of?
Caribbean.
You think it's like Jamaican?
But some people can't say like Indians and
stuff
like that.
But it is Indian. But it's like they're not being like culture appropriated. It's like you take something that you like. Wu-Tang Clan don't
and
like,
you flip it.
Ain't nobody Asian in that clip. Like come on, dog.
That's true.
But like if a white I know historically it's different because if a white dude was like NWA Clan or something like that, it's like, hold up, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But like when you're a genuine person like Eminem, like let's let him in.
He's a beast.
We have let him in, but like I feel like you gotta like you can't be so sensitive.
No, Josh, I totally
I'm not talking
agree.
to you. I'm
no,
talking
you already.
I'm talking
Hey, if anything, we said on this platform, we want to always provide different perspectives. So, Evan, tell us like your thoughts on that a little bit.
I mean, as far as like, black women trying to look like white women, I feel like it's kind of a concept that's been given to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like it's something of our own creation. Like, that's something that we've learned, whether that be through ads and stuff. I feel like when you see commercials, you see a light-skinned woman, you see a white woman. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's kind of the template that they're going off of. So I feel like you really just have to address that issue. I feel, going back to what we talked about earlier, it's about like your confidence within yourself.
Yeah.
Because me personally, like I'm not trying to change to look like anything. Like I feel like I'm pretty handsome and everything. So I ain't trying to change something up. So I feel like it's about you have to just raise people to believe in themselves, be confident, and that way you're not looking for any exterior blueprint on how you should be. You know what I'm saying? So.
Hey, Frederick Douglass, man, he said it best. It is easier to mold a child than it is to mold a grown man. Yeah. Because with the child, you have like a fresh brain. You can start from scratch.
Stubbornness.
Yeah, stubbornness is very important. And I feel like for anybody that's trying to develop and progress, we have to first address our current state. So until we as a people, and American people, human people, admit all the atrocities that's been committed on black people have committed atrocities on white people as well. Like a lot of black people don't know that black people such as the Moors sometimes or Egyptians, Ethiopians, we had white people in slavery as well.
Yeah, I gotta say something. Yeah. It was a couple years ago. I'm not trying to call nobody out. It's not even a big deal, but I remember one time I think I was talking to like Nick and Nate, somebody. Yeah. And there's this Jay-Z line, and he was like something about black people being kings. And I was just rapping because I like to rap a lot. So I quoted Jay, and then they were like, "Well, what are you talking about? Black people weren't kings." And I was like, "Yeah, they were.
They still are.
There's this place called Africa." Yeah. And then he was like, "Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about America, England." And I was like, "Yeah, but you're comparing the white
rule England and America.
You're comparing the white nation. You're comparing the white and you're ignoring the black. Like, why are we doing that?"
And see, look, here's the thing. If we want to be completely honest, we cannot talk about white people without talking about black people. We can't.
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that we were in power once and we did bad things once, and one day trust me, it's gonna shift back over.
History always just repeats itself. Like we were in our current state today because of all the mistakes that we made in the past. So
that's what Kendrick was talking about.
Yeah, and it's true, and that's why I feel like Kendrick's album, it was just so dope because he had that concept. He said that he was an Israelite, that he read his Bible, he still has his struggles as well. So yeah, man.
So do y'all think like right now, would y'all say that he's like the best rapper out right now?
It's between him and Cole. I think that Kendrick and Cole are our current day Biggie and Pac. So yeah, good people. I cannot thank you guys enough for just joining us, supporting us, always watching. So for all the fans out there, all the supporters, we thank you. We love you. Support my man Evan, his platform, Hard Knocks
TV on YouTube. And I want to thank y'all for having me on the first episode of Necessary Knowledge and Nonsense. I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Hey, we thank you. And just knowing how humble he was excited, zealous, just to start. So always have that spirit, guys. Always stay consistent. Always keep working hard. And know that nobody can stop you, and you, like yourself, can't stop you. Keep going. Like nobody can stop you from doing and reaching greatness and maximizing on your full potential.
Exactly. So. You're the only obstacle in front of you. You have to come to terms with are you going to allow yourself to be successful? That's where it starts. You have to change your mindset.
That's it. And JB, where's the wisdom?
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Kanye West. Bam.
Study your Roth IRAs.
Study that. Do that. Study your history. Study finances. Save $1. Spend $1. Have confidence.
Go get that girl you want. Yeah. Go get that success you want.
Because tell yourself this: there's nobody on the planet that looks like you, that's built like you, that thinks like you. Nobody. You are that one individual. Leave your footprint, your DNA. Leave that royalty, loyalty in your DNA. You have it. So know it. And thank you guys so much. Necessary Knowledge and Nonsense, episode 1. And many more to come. We got Saha the Prince coming on soon. So we appreciate you guys. Much love. See you guys very, very soon. Thank you.